Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. This video is about sort of intermediate level, I suppose, reciprocal functions. So from the exam solutions video you will know about ones like this. Okay, we're going to look at ones maybe more like this kind of thing, or maybe something like that, or actually wait, let's just start a bit simpler. Here's one, here's another one. Oops. And then here are some combinations. Let's say did I already do that? Yeah, one like that. And even at the end, something like this. So can we sketch these? Well, it's not really too difficult. You just have to do, well, there's two ways of doing it, but quite good revision as to think of them as transformations. So if our original function is 1 over x, think what would this one be as a transformation? Well, if you're going to get an x plus 2 there, down the bottom, surely you're just going to have to do x plus 2. And that's going to give you 1 over, plugging that into our original function, whatever you put inside the bracket has to go in place of the x. So that's going to be, as you can see, that's going to match up with this graph. So if you remember from the transformations you've done, that just means 2 units to the left. So it's really easy to sketch a graph of this. You just take your 1 over x plus 2, you take your 1 over x graph, which we know looks like this, and you just shift it 2 to the left. So you've now got this, and that's at minus 2 there. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. What about this one? 1 over 3x. Well, what transformation is that? If you think about it a little bit, you can sort of see that it would have to be f of 3x, because if you plug that in, you end up getting 1 over 3x. So what does the 3x do? Revising your transformation stuff from last time, see if you can remember what it does. Well, it's a squash in the x direction by a scale factor of 3. So basically, taking your existing 1 over x graph, you're just going to squash it so it kind of looks the same really, just a bit more squashed. Yep. Let's look at 5 over x. See if you can figure out what transformation that would be. Have a go. Well, hopefully you figured out that it's the same as 5 times f of x. If f of x is 1 over x, as we said over here, it's just 5 times that, isn't it? So it's 5 f of x. So that means, if you remember, it's a stretch times 5 in the y direction, which just means your graph is going to essentially look the same thing, just a bit more, hold on, no, a bit more stretched out is what I want, so I'm going to sort of exaggerate it a bit, do it like that. But, you know, in an exam, if it was a sketch, they're not too bothered about the that kind of level of detail. Okay, so let's get on to these tricky ones. 2 over x plus 3, well, that's just a combination of two transformations that we've already seen, isn't it? It's just this one, the x plus 2, and to get the 2 on the top, it's the multiplication. So you could say it's the same as 2 times f of x plus 3. So we're just going to combine those transformations. We're going to move to the left by 3, and we're going to stretch by a factor of 2. So the stretch doesn't really do much, and moving to the left by 3 just puts an asymptote at minus 3, and you've got the same graph there, like that. Stretched by a factor of 2, but again, that doesn't really affect the shape too much. Okay, finally, y equals 3 over 2x plus 1 plus 5. Now that is a combination of 3 transformations, getting really complicated. See if you can think what it is. You can pause the video, see if you can write down what you think it is. But hopefully you figured out that it's going to be like this. Now that is actually extremely annoying because it's got so much going on, and there is a very strange rule that when you have a bracket like this, you have to do BIDMAS in reverse, because if something's inside the bracket, it does the opposite of what you expect. So, strictly speaking, we need to actually do BIDMAS in reverse when stuff is inside the bracket. I just want to check that. Yep, it does look like you will have to do that type of thing. So, let's have a look. What transformations have we got here? Well, we've got a multiplication by 3 in the y direction. We've got, insofar as the x is concerned, we've got doing in reverse, move to the left by 1, because normally we would take the 2 first and then the 1, but this time we're going to take the 1 first, move to the left by 1, and then squash by a factor of 2. And then we're going to shift it up by 5. That's actually a pain. There's a better way of doing this. I'll show you that in the next video. For now, let's just go through this. So, we've got a 1 over x graph. We're going to stretch it by a factor of 3. That's not going to make it look much difference. you're going to move it to the left by 1, but then squash everything by a factor of 2. So if you move to the left by 1, then that gets squashed by a factor of 2, you're going to end up at half. Okay, so we could then draw our graph there, but the final step is we'd have to plus 5, make it move up 5. So the final situation would look like this. So 5 up here, and an asymptote here at negative half. And that's what it would finally look like. So I hope that's a useful recap of transformations and how they can be applied to a graph like 1 over x. In the next video, I'm going to show you an alternative way of doing more complex functions, which you can also apply to these. So you can take your choice as to what method you want to use. So stay tuned. Okay, thanks, bye.